Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. So in this video we are going to take a look at the latest Extreme Z battle to be added to DBZ Dokkan Global, and that is for the physical SS3 Go Tanks. So obviously this is one of the 120% leads that has received an EZA, and he looks pretty good from the get-go. We'll take a look at his EZB just now, but just to take a look at the unit, he goes to a 130% type physical lead. He gets a 150% attack and defense, and gains an additional attack of 70%, defense of 30%, and a medium chance of evasion for 7 turns from the start of battle, and then he gains a variety of buffs on his super attack. So he looks pretty good overall. He definitely looks like a unit that's going to be super solid in SPR events, extreme SPR events, Ultimate Clash, anything like that. Obviously, when the 7-turn buff goes away, he's going to lose a lot of offensive capability, but he should be more than fine, even with just his base stats. 150% is pretty high, coupled with being an EZA unit, he's going to be right at home. In terms of team, so he is weak to youth category enemies and strength type enemies. So you're going to want to obviously have as many youth and strength type units as possible. In terms of our team build here, obviously we're going to try and use a bit of a more interesting build. We're going to go for a Kamehameha led team with the 100% lead of the tech Trunks. A better lead would be the 120% lead strength EZA Teen Gohan SS2, but we're just going to use the Trunks because he is a little bit more common, I feel. But the Gohan can be received through trading in the tickets on Goku Day, which is every May. So obviously, just in terms of this team, you're going to want to avoid having int units like we have here. The free-to-play Great Saiyaman unit, who drops from the Dragon Ball Heroes event, is going to be pretty solid here. Then you have the free-to-play Pan that you can use. The LR Pan, she will be relatively solid. Because we're going for a Kamehameha team, we definitely want to use the Agility Gohan. He's going to do a lot of damage and be a brick wall. And then obviously one of the big units will be the SS2 Teen Gohan, and will also be the Super Saiyan Goten. So the Strength Super Saiyan Goten doesn't link as nicely with the Tech Trunks, Kid Trunks, as the other Gotens do, but it's good enough that we can use both of them, plus he makes Rainbow Orbs, which obviously really helps out with Team Ki in general. But we'll jump across now to stage 10 and just take a look at how the event is getting along. Obviously, as you can see, Super Agility, Super Strength, Super Tech, and Super Physical are still effective when attacking. We can't reduce attack and defense, so there's a couple more debuffs or world buffs made to the boss and debuffs to us. We're still going to run the exact same team. At this point, Bulla was starting to become a weakness. The amount of damage he takes on a hit is pretty bad. The Int Gohan seems to be doing fine. He's not one-hit kill potential, and he seems to be handling his own. Even though he's not adding much, he's at least filling up that slot well enough up till this point at stage 10. This Trunks is doing really well, especially at 100%, and his damage reduction is really helping with reducing the amount of damage we take from all of these super attacks. In terms of this team build, obviously in terms of youth category, there's a couple leads. There's the 120% youth lead in the form of the Goku and Bulma from the SBR challenges, that is from stage 21 to 30. Then there is the Int Gotenks, who's a youth lead, the Int Dragon Ball Goku as well, who's a youth lead. So you've got some options in terms of youth leads, but the problem with most of them is that they are Int type. One of the better leads is obviously the latest one, the Gifted Warriors lead with the Goten and Trunks, but they are physical type, which drops off later on, so they're not necessarily the best to use. There's no real strength youth lead that's kind of just hanging around, so your best is probably to run the 120% Kamehameha lead SS2 Teen Gohan, and then run as many Kamehameha based youth hybrid Saiyans as you can. Fortunately, with the Trunks here, you can run him, you can run Goten, you can run that Gohan, you can run a lot of other youth Gohans, and then from there, you're just going to have to figure out a team like we have here. The Great Saiyaman is also a super solid addition. He does a decent amount of damage, but he also provides support. So overall, it's still a solid unit to use. But that's going to be how you're going to want to build the side. You're definitely going to want to obviously kind of go along that trend. If you do run double youth units, you will have higher stats, which means your units will be stronger. But I would only suggest this if you have a pretty decent lineup already. You can't rely on the Gotenks or Int Goten or Int Dragon Ball Saga Goku to help you out in terms of damage and defense. It's just not going to work out really. But now we'll move on to stage 20. So in stage 20, only the tech and the strength type superclass units are going to be effective here. Otherwise it's just youth category. Immune to sealing, immune to stun, immune to reductions in attack and defense. The usual story for, any Extreme Z battle. But yeah, at this stage we did have to take out Bulla. We swapped in the B-Pan. B-Pan will be okay, even though she doesn't actually fall under any of the leads. Her stats are high enough, and the fact that she has type advantage plus the built-in guard will help her prevent herself from getting one hit KO'd, which is obviously going to, assist us in terms of just, having a tankier unit than Bulla. And her active skill is really going to help in the damage as well, much like Bulla's support. So overall, not a bad substitute to run in there. At this point, one of the problems is that the LR Gohan, the LR Teen Gohan, is going to stop doing a large amount of damage as the AGL type has been removed off of the effective list. So that means we're going to be very reliant on our strength units, which isn't so bad because they seem to be doing decent damage, but it is going to be a bit of a problem for those of you who maybe don't have the SS2 Gohan, who maybe have been relying on the AGL Gohan for damage. You're really going to just have to kind of work around it basically. This tech Trunks is really helpful. I don't suggest taking the AGL Goten or the physical Trunks. Obviously they're not effective typings, but also you can't take the Int Goten. You're going to want to take the Strength Goten. Fortunately, Strength Goten is a Goku Day ticket card, much like the SS2 Gohan. So if you've been playing the game for at least a year, you should, in theory, have at least one copy of one of these units, and that's really going to help you out. But yeah, beyond that, things will run somewhat better if you're running a full youth team, or maybe a Gifted Warriors team, where you can kind of run these units at higher stats. But for this team build, we definitely need to keep all of our strength units on rotation. We're going to want to move the Int Gohan as far off rotation as possible, but we also have to be careful of how many attacks he can take. There's no point moving him into the third slot if he's going to take 8 attacks and possibly a super attack. That's just going to get us killed. So yeah, definitely want to keep it in mind. Thoughts so far though, the EZA is a little bit spongy. He's a little bit of like, a big old sponge. He can take quite a bit of damage, or maybe that's just due to the fact that we're not doing high amounts of damage. None of the strength units are really hitting massive attack stats. One benefit of running a full youth team under Gotenks or under Dragon Ball, Goku, is the fact that you can run these units at higher stats, which is obviously beneficial. But also you can use units like the Strength Super Saiyan Gotenks, who will be very solid, or the SS3 Gotenks as well, the Tech one, who also does a tremendous amount of damage. And I think that will help you finish the stage faster. So you might find, even though you have a int unit or 2 int leads, that your team does run faster just due to the higher stats and the fact that you don't have to work around the act of having a Kamehameha lead. You can just run a full youth lineup and then see where things go from there. But we managed to finish stage 20. We did not get the time bonus from the missions. As you guys would have seen, the missions are pretty much the stock standard Easy A missions or Extreme Z battle missions at this point. For any singular Extreme Z battle, it is finish any stage after level 20 with a full team of youth units, finish stage 10 in under 2 minutes 15, and finish stage 20 or higher in under 2 minutes 45. So yeah, pretty solid missions, but nothing you can't do. The time challenges might be a problem if you're using a slower lineup like this, but other than that, you should be more than fine with any of the missions, as long as you of course can complete the Extreme Z battle. They do give 4 stones in total, so they are quite the benefit to have, and they will give you a little bit of a extra boost, bringing the total reward from the event to 34 stones, which is, a nice little pick me up before the anniversary. So yeah, definitely much appreciated. But for now, we'll just take on the final stage here. Not too much different from stage 20, just harder, more health, but yep, tech type and strength type are still the top typings. Immune to sealing, immune to stunning, immune to attack and defense reduction. So at this point, we pretty much know what to expect, and we're not confused or too put off by anything. B-Pan is starting to take a decent chunk of damage, even though she's running under no lead, but she is taking a decent chunk of damage, and that is something that we are going to want to just keep an eye on, because obviously we just need to be careful about how many attacks she takes, because she's also not going to be healing us for a tremendous amount of health due to her diminished stats as well. So yeah, definitely one of the ones you're going to want to keep an eye on. But other than that, the rest of this team build is relatively tanky enough for the event. But yeah, as you can see, with this build under this 100% lead, obviously I can switch the SS-Teen Gohan in and gain the extra 20%, which would have made this slightly faster. But as you can see with this team build, we are just sitting at the point where the units are somewhat, the enemy SS3 Gotenks is somewhat of a nuisance from being so tanky. But beyond that, yeah, nothing that screams out about this Extreme Z battle. It's definitely not as hard as the Super Saiyan 4 Extreme Z battle. So for most of you who've been playing the game for a short while, you should be able to finish this Extreme Z battle without too many issues. It will just take slightly longer than your usual one. This did feel grindy, even though I'm using a subpar team on purpose. This did just feel a little bit grindier than the normal Extreme Z battle, but that might just be because of the units. I'm not entirely too certain, but yeah, overall that's kind of where we're sitting with this Extreme Z battle. It would have been nice for the AGL typing to have remained, but I think it would have made it too easy. We just basically made Gohan able to carry the entire thing on his own. So I can see why they changed it, even though technically strength and tech are kind of underrepresented in terms of this category here, or at least in terms of this Extreme Z battle. But beyond that, we are going to be able to wrap everything up here. We do have the active skills, so that's going to obviously augment our damage and should get us to finish everything up. I think it is going to be a little bit difficult to see if we do manage to finish everything up. But yeah, after Trunks' super attack, we'll definitely finish the final stage of this Extreme Z battle. And that will be the end of that. So it's really nice. It wasn't too bad overall. A very doable Extreme Z battle. It does require a couple youth cards, but as long as you have at least 2 or 3 strength units, you should be okay overall. Just going to want to obviously make sure that you train them and give them SA. There is the Kid Goten as well, the free-to-play one, the Goku's Family Kid Goten. He is also a super solid option to choose. But yep, that is going to be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, cheers and bye.